My guest on Main Street is Fred T. Boom, always provocative, if not controversial. Might I add, unpredictable? A, I was somewhat surprised to see a Katrina Sweat sign in your yard. And B, you are devoting a great deal of time and energy to erecting a permanent Holocaust Memorial in the Gate City, and that is the main focus of our program today. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Can I ask a little bit about the A? I was surprised to see a Katrina Sweat sign in your yard.
Well, think about the fact that her father, former Congressman Lantos,
Tom Lantos,
was the Holocaust survivor, and he was the only Holocaust survivor to serve in Congress. So naturally, there's a connection here.
I wondered if that were the case.
And that is a connection.
The memorial. Let me ask you, when did the seed for such a thing come to your mind, and where are we in the proposal and plans for it to be erected?
Okay, the seed probably started sometime last year, and it kind of focalized itself when John Weidman unveiled the statue, or this, well, the sculpture he calls it, that you have right here in Revere College in the Rotary. And I looked at that, and I looked at the material that he used and the type of sculpture it is, and somehow crystallized in my mind the fact that, you know, wouldn't it be wonderful if we had some kind of a Holocaust memorial in the city of Nashua, more than just a statue, more than a sculpture, a real memorial. There is no memorial in the state of New Hampshire, as you know. So I was there at the invocation, and I contacted John Weidman, and it's almost like a miracle. I mean, John contacted me back, and we struck up a rapport. We met for breakfast someplace, and it just the seed just took hold. And I'll tell you, the genesis of all this, it probably precedes that. You know, I'm getting older now, you know, as all of us, and I am the only member left of my family. My father is gone, my mother is gone, my older brother is gone that survived the war with me. My younger brother is gone that was born just after the war. And I said, you know, we had hundreds of family members lost in World War II. My son actually traced this down, and hundreds, not just 100, hundreds. We had a very large family between my father's family and my mother's family.
So originally living where? And I know they moved to Belgium, I believe?
No. We moved, I stayed, was in Holland all through the war as a little kid. You know, I was born in 1938, so I was 4 or 5 years old. I was 7 years old when the war ended. But I remember it very, very definitely. I remember events during the war. And, you know, all our lives were at risk. I never knew my mother during the war. She had a foreign name. She worked in the underground, but she was not known to me because too dangerous. The people that hid me took tremendous risk. They hid pilots that were shot down flying from England.
So when were you rejoined with your mother? Because I know in her final years she lived with you here in Nashua.
She lived here in Nashua. We rejoined after the war, short after the war. You know, after the war was over.
So after the war, you were staying with the family, and
they said this woman would be visiting you once in a while, and we might have called her aunt, whatever. That's really your mother.
So did the people that were raising you, did you think they were your parents?
No, to tell you honestly, no one.
Maybe surrogate.
I'm not sure anybody really asked that question. I think I knew that they weren't my parents.
And you had siblings?
Well, my older brother lived not very far away from me in another village in Utrecht, the province of Utrecht, but I did not see him. I did not see him till after the war.
So at some point, you know, growing up, adolescent, whatever, there came a point where there was a conversation and you said, what happened?
That's right. And that, you know, I knew I'd think about this coming on this program. You know, this may sound very strange from a guy that you think of as a politician. But I think there's some kind of divine providence behind all this. I'd lie in bed late at night and say, you know, why are all my family members killed and my immediate family is now gone and I'm still left alive? And you know, why am I still left alive? And this whole thing, this memorial, this Holocaust Memorial, I think started as an inspirational thing, long before I met John Weidman. But it all crystallized pretty much the instant that I saw that statue, that sculpture that you have outside here at the college.
Let me intercept here by saying simultaneously to that, you knew that the Nashua Rotary Club had designated funds during the centennial of Rotary to develop Rotary Common. And you knew things were happening there. You knew the symposium with John Weidman and the Sculptural Symposium had pieces there.
Yes.
You knew that a labyrinth with Yvonne Dunitz, the inspiration behind that was culminating.
Absolutely.
And so did it simultaneously and parallel, well, and there's the place to put it.
It all has come together so smoothly. This didn't really start till about a year ago. And when I heard about, I knew about the labyrinth, and I called Kathy Hirsch, the director, who's been a motivating force in the city behind many of these kinds of things, as well as the symposium. And I said, you know, this Rotary Park is a pretty open park, you know. How about the idea of a memorial? And she immediately grabbed on and she says, you know, there's a park left on the other side of Salmon Brook. The part that the labyrinth looked at initially as a site, but turned down because I thought it was too small. If you look at the picture here, which your viewers can't see, you see that here is Salmon Brook. Here's where the labyrinth goes, to the north side of the park. On the south of the park is a fairly narrow area, but it's perfect because you look at it, it's surrounded by Salmon Brook on two sides.
It's beautiful there.
There's going to be a fence.
So this part, we're looking on the monitor now, but in this part here, this isn't developed yet, correct?
Nothing is developed. This is the only part that's developed. This is all
So this is
wild
like a part two.
That used to be considered phase two. And for one thing, you have to get access. They have to do a curb cut. The city is going to prepare the site. But to come back to your earlier question, it all sort of came together. Kathy said, that sounds like a great place. Why don't you take a look at it? I looked at it and said, this is perfect. You know, the whole thing, the Board of Aldermen, with the resolution, approved this unanimously. The labyrinth wasn't even approved unanimously by the board, as you know, okay? The Board of Public Works approved it unanimously. The Finance Committee approved it unanimously.
They didn't want to go up against Fred T-Boom.
No, it's an idea whose time has come. It's in the library. People, this particular memorial has been built into a 12:1 scale model. We call that a maquette, and we commissioned John to build this maquette, and it's now in the library. Viewers can go to the library and see it next to the hunt room.
I didn't know that. I was just there last week.
You didn't see it in the back, in the main floor?
Well, I was doing the concert in the park series.
Go to back there. It's a beautiful, beautiful, scaled, accurate, scaled model of what we intend to build.
Because I'm seeing from this flat one-dimensional picture that you could have a better appreciation by seeing such a model, because there is some, there is a concept and a philosophy behind the design. The barbed wire. The brick to me reminds me of an oven. Is that what I'm supposed to think?
Exactly. There have been people that looked at the maquette. We unveiled it April 12th during the Holocaust Remembrance Day, and people started crying.
Wow.
You know, there are 6 massive walls. Granted, these are 8 feet high by 6 feet wide granite, almost a foot thick. Each of these walls is inscribed a single inscription. That's one of the 6 death camps used in World War II, specifically designed to kill masses of people by the millions.
I hate your brochure.
11 million people were killed.
Dedicated to the innocent victims of mass murder. 11
million people were killed. 6 million Jews, and what people don't know that much about is 5 million others, okay? In each of these walls is inscribed a name inside. You can just barely see this in this inscription. As you walk through, the idea of this memorial is that you experience this. It's not a memorial just to look at. This is a memorial to experience. You walk in between these walls, you look at that black cube. That black cube is a highly polished, shiny black cube. It's at eye level. If you look at that, you see your reflection.
I see.
And you may see the reflection of these names of these Nazi death camps. And you will look at that, and it will mean different things to different people.
Following the metaphor, then, it could be you in that oven.
My concept, for me, I look at my image on that black cube, on top of those bricks that represent a crematorium, I'd say, I could have been in that gas chamber. That it'll leave an indelible impression. The others will just look at it and say, this is a black period in history. I don't know what they will think, okay? That's what it means to me.
Well, the thing is, you want them to think.
But these rails on top, you call metal, if you look at it closely enough, they're modeled after a rail track.
Because they shipped them
because
in.
of the trains that transported people in box cars, cattle cars, to these
I thought they were cut
camps.
pipe, but I'm
No, if you look
the
closely,
rail.
and if you look at the maquette, you'll see that that actually is modeled from rail, very closely to it.
Fred, sadly to say, we have like less than a minute left.
Okay.
So let me ask you, fundraising. You're going to have a website up soon.
Yes.
You're going to go full force with fundraising.
Yes.
What can someone do that's watching?
They can, I'll have this week up a website, Holocaust Memorial in Nashua. They can probably Google it. They can call me, 889-2316. They can contact me writing at home. I'm sure they can call the library because we'll have a
City
sign
Hall,
up,
maybe.
although we don't say donations in the library. They can call City Hall. Mainly, I hope that the website will catch on because we have to raise $150,000, Carolyn. And we just started our fundraising. I didn't want to start fundraising until the city approved the site.
Got you.
$150,000 in today's economy is not easy to raise.
Well, you can count TV13. TV13, we'd love to make a donation. Thanks for joining us today, and congratulations.
I love you.
Thanks for watching this edition of Main Street.